But now I'm happy to hand over to, I think, youngest of today's speakers, Mai Britt Meriloo, who defended her bachelor's thesis just now this year in June on Wilhelm Lexis and his contributions and the Lexis diagram. So, the floor is yours.
Hello, and welcome from my side as well. So I'm Mai Britt, and this year I obtained my bachelor's thesis in mathematical statistics and defended my bachelor's thesis on the subject of Wilhelm Lexis, currently working at Swedbank. So, Wilhelm Lexis was born in 1837 in West Germany, in Eschweiler, and he was quite an interdisciplinary scientist, but I feel like they all kind of were. Firstly, he started studying at the University of Bonn. He started studying law. Then a year later switched to mathematics and natural sciences and defended his doctoral dissertation titled The General Laws of Motion in 1855. Briefly worked also as a teacher, but then in 1861 moved to France to further his studies, and there he started analyzing the economic conditions of France, and in 1870 published his first scholarly work on the subject of French export policy and trade development, which he was later praised on for using skillfully this statistical scientific method to analyze the data, and thus left a valuable contribution to the financial history of France. After the outbreak of Franco-Prussian War, he briefly worked at a local newspaper, and from there on he was invited to work as a political economy professor at the newly established University of Strasbourg at 1872. And then 1874 came to Tartu. After that, returned to Germany and mainly worked as a professor his whole life. Yes, and as I said, he was quite an interdisciplinary man. He not only published works on the subject of statistics, but also on education, on monetary systems, on banking. So besides being a professor, he had always a strong connection to education and academia. For example, he was a member of a few associations, namely the Economic Association of Social Policy at his time at Strasbourg, and he also published a lot of academic articles that were, for example, published in the Journal of Economics, that he was the chief editor from 1891. And also, he founded the first actuarian institute in Germany in 1895. So in 1874, University of Tartu proposed Lexis as a sole candidate for professor in ethnography, statistics, and geography. And he was pointed out to be one of the few statisticians who proved his competence in that field. That this study on French export policy that I just briefly mentioned was the one that basically supported his candidacy. And they also contacted his colleague at Strasbourg, who said him to be a really concise, open-minded, and a scholar with a broad horizon. So that document here is basically the document that shows how he was basically proposed to this position in 29th of April of 1874. And he resigned from Tartu at 1876. And throughout his career, he started mainly focusing on the matters of population at his time at Strasbourg, and there started working on the most famous work of his, that is Introduction to the Population, Introduction to the Theory of Populational Statistics, and this was completed in Tartu, but published in Strasbourg. And this is one of the major and one of the most important works of his, which he is basically known for. So to talk more about the 19th century, then back at that time, demography emerged from statistics as a distinctive field of study. And so demographers at the time started to seek for ways to better the calculation of mortality and the visualization of mortality, because before all the inventions, life was basically represented in a one-dimensional graph where the interval was on horizontal axis, and so as the number of individuals grew, the graph became completely cluttered and unreadable. And so came Georg Friedrich Knapp, who proposed his idea to put the calendar time to the horizontal axis, yet stack each individual vertically above another. This helped to distinguish the lifelines, yet still made it hard to distinguish cohorts. And even though he was the first one to basically study the individual lifelines. And then came Becker, who took Knapp's idea and improved it in a way that he was probably the first one to combine all three time perspectives, that is age, period, and calendar time, to a single diagram. So horizontal axis corresponded to calendar time, and vertical axis was dedicated to the date of birth or birth cohort, and calendar time could be read implicitly, and that's why all the factors could be tracked. But Lexis, in 1875, 150 years ago, proposed his way of this diagram madness at the time. So his idea was to depict birth years on horizontal axis, yet keep the age or the years lived at the vertical axis. And though calendar time was could be read implicitly, and he also his graph also made it easy to combine those three factors, yet since the calendar time was shown implicitly, it wasn't that convenient for demographic studies. But Wilhelm Lexis came to play in the basically 100 years later in 1960s and adapted the Lexis's version by modernizing it, and it could be said that Lexis is known by the help of Wilhelm Lexis. So his version enabled the clearer distinction of three time perspectives, that is age groups, then birth years and cohorts, and calendar time. So in this diagram, we can see that the vertical band represents calendar time, the interval from 2010 to 2050. The blue horizontal bar corresponds to the individuals aged at 60 to 65, and this diagonal band is reserved for cohort. So that is the individuals born between 1950 and 1955. And also the individual lifelines that were also represented on Krista's version, basically, with an inclination of 45 degrees. So we will more learn about the adaptation of the way that this data is structured and how they can be applied for survival analysis by the help of the next presenters. And that is all for me. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mai Britt. Are there any questions to Mai Britt? So as you see that it's not, if you see the modern version of the Lexis diagram, it looks like so obvious that this is a good way of doing it, but if it didn't exist, also we all would be thinking and trying all these different versions and trying to find that. So, okay, thank you.